Welcome back, my friends, to Legends and Lore, where history meets mystery. Tonight, I invite you to settle into your favorite cozy spot. Let your breathing slow, let your thoughts drift, and allow the quiet magic of storytelling to wash over you. Because this evening we journey to a world of myths and mountains, of soft winds and shimmering seas, to ancient Greece and the 12 gods and goddesses who sat upon Mount Olympus. Imagine a world where the booming thunder wasn't just a random storm, but the mighty Zeus, king of the gods, wielding his lightning bolt. Imagine a world where the crashing waves on the seashore weren't a force of nature, but the domain of the temperamental Poseidon, shaking the earth with a flick of his trident. And imagine a world where love wasn't just a feeling, but a force embodied by the enchanting Aphrodite, capable of igniting hearts and inspiring wars with her beauty. These weren't just stories for entertainment. They were an attempt to explain the unexplainable, to give form to the unseen forces that governed the ancient Greeks' lives. For thousands of years, the gods were companions to sailors, farmers, poets, mothers, and kings, figures who explained the mysteries of nature, the cycles of life, and the unpredictable dance of fate. And so tonight we'll explore 12 of the most cherished Olympians, not in fiery battles or dramatic tales, but in peaceful, reflective portraits, slowly, one by one. When you're ready, let our journey begin. At the pinnacle of the Greek pantheon stands Zeus, the king of the gods. Born from the cunning of his mother Rhea, Zeus defied the tyranny of his father Cronus and led a revolution that reshaped the heavens. Ruling from Mount Olympus, Zeus wielded the mighty thunderbolt and presided over the sky and weather. His name echoes through the ages, a byword for power and authority. His domination extended beyond mere physical power, and he was the arbiter of justice and order, ensuring that both gods and mortals adhered to the divine laws. But Zeus is not merely a stern judge. He is a symbol of strength, a warrior who led the Olympian gods in battles against monstrous titans, forever securing our world from chaos. Zeus is also a very complex figure, and he is not without his flaws. His fiery temper and pursuit of pleasure have woven tales of jealousy and betrayal. Zeus's numerous affairs and many offspring underscore his role in shaping many aspects of the natural and mortal worlds, reflecting the complexities and imperfections of authority and of leadership. Yet even in his mistakes, we see a reflection of our own humanity. He embodies the duality within us all, the capability for both great good and terrible wrath. And despite his flaws, Zeus remains the cornerstone of the Greek pantheon. He is the father of gods and men, the one who watches over us with a discerning eye. His legend teaches us valuable lessons, the importance of justice, the need for order, and the consequences of unchecked power. And so the next time you hear the rumble of thunder, remember Zeus, the king of the gods. Let it be a reminder of the power that governs the cosmos, the responsibility that comes with leadership, and the enduring influence of the myths that have shaped our world. Beside Zeus sat Hera, his sister, but also his wife and queen of the gods who governed marriage and family. Hera is the embodiment of commitment, the protector of marriage and family. She is the goddess who watches over women in childbirth, ensuring the continuation of life itself. Her magnificent crown, adorned with peacock feathers, symbolizes the beauty and vigilance that are her hallmarks. However, Hera is far more than just a wife and mother. She possesses a fierce intelligence and an unwavering loyalty that rivals even Zeus's power. Known for her jealousy and protective nature, Hera also protects others. She watches over women who have been wronged, offering them strength and courage. Her story reminds us of the resilience of the female spirit, of the power to rise above injustice and claim one's rightful place. Her stories are often told with fire, but the Greeks also saw her softer nature, the side that protected homes and guided mothers and blessed new beginnings. And so the next time you witness a majestic storm, remember not only Zeus, but also Hera. Let it be a reminder of the strength that lies in devotion, the importance of family, and the unwavering spirit of a queen who stands beside her king, not in his shadow. And now we travel from the sky to the sea to Poseidon, god of oceans, rivers, earthquakes, and surprisingly, god of horses. Poseidon was the brother of Zeus, and he wielded a mighty trident, a symbol of his command over the vast waters and the trembling earth. Sailors prayed to him before long voyages, not only asking him to quiet storms, but more often for good winds, smooth waters, and safe journeys home. And while he is remembered most as the ruler of the seas, Poseidon's power stretched far beyond the waves. Horses, strong, swift, and deeply respected in the ancient world, were also under his protection. In many myths, it was Poseidon who created the very first horse, shaping it from sea foam and giving it life with a single breath. To the Greeks, this connection made perfect sense. Both the sea and the horse were powerful, beautiful, and unpredictable. But above all, Poseidon represented the ocean itself, the vast, unknowable force that shaped Greek life. For ancient sailors, the sea could be calm one moment and raging the next. Poseidon's myths explain this mystery, capturing the awe people felt toward waters that could both nourish and destroy. Coastal communities honored him, leaving offerings and prayers in hopes of plentiful fish, gentle tides, and protection from sudden storms. With just a flick of his trident, Poseidon could unleash monstrous waves, calm the fiercest tempests, or send tremors rippling through the earth. And yet tonight we focus not on his power, but on his gentler moods. We picture Poseidon walking along a peaceful shoreline, the sea stretching endlessly before him, waves brushing softly against the sand, his trident tall, shining, stands beside him like a lighthouse, guiding travelers home under moonlight. In this quiet moment, Poseidon is not a bringer of storms, but the hush of waves at night, the steady rhythm of the tide, and the soothing presence that lulls us into restful sleep. And from the sea we move to the ground. Demeter was the nurturer of the earth, ensuring the crops grew and the people were fed. On land, fields of wheat swayed gently under her protection, for she was the goddess of harvests and nourishment, the quiet force that made the world bloom. Where she walked, flowers opened, fruit ripened, and the soil breathed with life. The Greeks believed she taught humankind how to plant seeds, how to care for crops, and how to work with the seasons. Imagine Demeter in warm, golden fields, sunlight on her shoulders, carrying a basket of freshly cut grain. She represents the comfort of a full table and the reassurance that, after winter, spring always returns. But Demeter, known everywhere for her gentleness, had one place where her softness turned into steel. Anything touching her daughter Persephone. Persephone was the light of her life, a joyful presence who walked beside her through blooming meadows. And when Persephone was taken to the underworld, Demeter's grief spread across the earth. Plants withered, fields fell silent, and winter appeared for the very first time. Eventually, a sacred agreement was reached. Persephone would be allowed to return to her mother for 6 months each year. During those months, Demeter's heart blossomed with joy, and so did the earth. Flowers opened, trees budded, and warm winds returned. But when Persephone had to go back to the underworld for the other half of the year, Demeter mourned, and the world slipped again into the quiet rest of autumn and winter. Her story gently explains the changing seasons and reminds us of the power of a mother's love, the turning of nature, and the eternal cycle of life, loss, and renewal. Among all of the Olympians, Athena was one of the most beloved. Goddess of wisdom, of strategy, of crafts, and of calm, steady intelligence. Athena was never loud or boastful. Her strength came from clarity of thought, from careful planning, from the quiet certainty that comes when the mind is focused and still. She was imagined wearing a cloak of soft silver gray, the same color as the olive trees she would one day gift to the city of Athens. Owls, symbols of insight and clear vision, stayed close by her side, and when we think of Athena tonight, we picture a candlelit room, the soft turning of pages, and a gentle moment of realization. Athena's origins were just as extraordinary as her wisdom. She was born from Zeus himself, springing fully formed and fully armed from his head, a living symbol of the powerful union between thought and action. From the beginning, she embodied the perfect balance of strength and intelligence, of courage, guided by reason. Athena's patronage of Athens remains one of her most cherished stories. Long ago, the people of the city needed a protector and invited the gods to offer gifts. Poseidon struck the earth with his trident, creating a magnificent saltwater spring, a symbol of power and of the sea. But when Athena stepped forward, she planted a small, humble tree, an olive tree. But this olive tree offered food, oil, wood, peace, and longevity, and the people chose her gift, not because it was grand, but because it was useful, lasting, and wise. And so the city became Athens, the city of Athena, a place where wisdom, art, justice, and learning would flourish for centuries. Athenians believed her presence guided them not only in battle, but in governance, craftsmanship, and daily life. She represented the ideal balance between intellect and strength, between knowing what to do and knowing when to do it. And so the next time you find yourself struggling with a difficult decision, think of Athena. And remember that you too have the wisdom, the strategy, and the quiet resourcefulness to choose your path with clarity. Among all of the Olympians, few relationships were as harmonious as that of the twins Apollo and Artemis, children of Zeus and Leto, a Titan goddess. Together they embodied the perfect balance of light and darkness, sun and moon, and civilization and wilderness. But their entry into the world was anything but peaceful. Leto's pregnancy stirred the jealousy of Hera, Zeus's wife, who placed a powerful curse upon her. Leto was forbidden to give birth on any landmass touched by the sun. And so Leto wandered endlessly, searching for a place where she could bring her children into the world. And only when she reached the small, floating island of Delos, untethered from the earth and drifting upon the sea, did she finally find refuge. There, in the quiet safety of that drifting island, she gave birth, first to Artemis, who then helped her mother deliver her brother Apollo. From those first moments, the twins were linked, one born to guide the moon in the wilds of the night, the other destined to carry the light of the sun. Apollo was a god of many things, but his most soothing aspects were light and music. The Greeks pictured him driving the sun across the sky each day, not in a rush, but in a steady, peaceful arc that warmed the earth and brought life back into the world each morning. He carried a golden lyre, its strings glowing like soft sunlight. When he played, the notes drifted gently like warm light, spilling across a calm morning. Apollo's light did more than brighten the physical world. It symbolized clarity of thought, the illumination of the mind and the spirit, the gentle dawning of understanding. As the god of music, poetry, prophecy, and healing, Apollo brought order to the universe. The steady rhythm of days, the reassurance of sunrise, and the quiet joy that arrives with early light. When you think of Apollo, think of that soft moment just before dawn, when the world turns gold and everything feels clear once again. And Artemis, Apollo's twin, ruled the night. She was the goddess of the moon, of forests, of animals, and the peaceful wilderness untouched by human hands. Picture her walking through soft pine woods, a crescent moon overhead, the world hushed and silver. Animals traveled beside her, gentle deer, rabbits, birds. Her presence brought a sense of calm protection, as though the forest itself were breathing slowly. Artemis represented independence, freedom, and the quiet beauty of nature. As the goddess of the hunt, she carried a bow and arrows, not as symbols of aggression, but of balance, the delicate relationship between humans and the natural world. She was a guardian of wildlife, a protector of women, and a reminder of the sacredness of untouched places. Artemis is the calming silence of a moonlit path, the cool night air, the soft glow of stars that gently guide you through darkness. Apollo and Artemis were two halves of a whole, light and shadow, sunrise and moonrise, understanding and intuition. Apollo brought clarity. Artemis brought quiet. He represented the order of the day. She represented the mysteries of the night. And so the next time you feel the warmth of sunlight on your skin, or pause to admire the beauty of a moonlit sky, remember these twins of Olympus and let them inspire you to seek balance, harmony, and peace in your own life. Ares, god of war, is often remembered for the clash of swords and the roar of battlefields. But the ancient Greeks also understood a quieter side of him. To them, Ares symbolized courage, not just violence, but the moment right before a challenge. The stillness where the heart beats strong and steady. the breath someone takes before stepping into the unknown. Imagine Aries sitting near a campfire at dusk, his armor laid gently beside him, the metal catching the glow of the flames. He watches the fire dance, not as a destroyer, but as a guardian of bravery, the kind of bravery that grows in silence, in resolve, in the decision to keep moving forward. Aries was the physical side of conflict, the raw instinct, the adrenaline, the surge of emotion, where Athena represented strategy, planning, and wisdom in battle. Aries was something more primal, the chaos of war, the intensity of action, and the unpredictable nature of human conflict. Aries was something primal, the chaos of war, the intensity of action, and the unpredictable nature of human conflict. This made him both honored and feared. He was worshipped because people understood the reality of battle and the need for strength and fearlessness. He could be hot-headed, impulsive, and overcome by emotion. Stories often tell of him being defeated, not because he lacked power, but because he lacked restraint. Yet despite his fiery nature, Aries had moments of tenderness and vulnerability. And so the next time you find yourself at the edge of a challenge, when your heart beats a little faster and you feel that flicker of nervous fire, remember Aries, not as the god of destruction, but as the quiet guardian of the strength that rises within us when we choose to be brave. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, she didn't represent grand romances or dramatic declarations. She embodied something quieter, softer, and more universal. The warmth in a smile, the comfort of connection, the gentle spark of affection. Her story begins in the most poetic way. The Greeks imagined her rising from the sea foam, fully grown, glowing, breathtakingly beautiful, as though the ocean itself had shaped her from light and water. Waves shimmered around her, doves fluttered overhead, and every breeze seemed to soften in her presence. From the moment she emerged, Aphrodite became a figure the other gods both admired and feared. With a glance, she could stir longing. With a whisper, she could spark desire. And without lifting a sword, she could shape destinies and even start wars. But despite being the very embodiment of love, Aphrodite was not free to follow her own heart. To prevent conflict among the many gods who wanted her, Zeus arranged her marriage to Hephaestus, the gentle, brilliant god of fire and metalwork. He was kind, skilled, clever, respected by all, but not the man Aphrodite would have chosen. And choose she did. Her heart wandered elsewhere, and she made no apology for it. Her most famous love was Ares, the god of war, a fiery, passionate counterpart to her soft allure. Together they were desire and danger. But Aphrodite's heart was not bound to a single story. She was drawn to mortal men as well. She loved Anchises, a shepherd prince, and from that union came Aeneas, the hero destined to become the founder of Rome. She loved Adonis, a mortal so beautiful that she mourned his death with such intensity that gods allowed him to return to her for part of the year. Flowers, they said, bloomed from her tears. Some myths say she shared children with other gods, and some whisper that before she ever rose from the sea, she loved a sea god named Narrates, a reminder that love has no single shape or rule. But beyond these stories, Aphrodite symbolized something deeper. She wasn't the goddess of quiet romance or comfortable companionship. She was the goddess of longing, of passion, of the powerful pull that connects hearts, inspires creation, and shapes the world in ways that reason cannot. Aphrodite never apologized for her heart or for the many forms her love took. She represented the truth that love isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be felt fully and fiercely in the gentle moments of affection and in the deep currents that move the soul. So the next time you feel torn between duty and desire, or when your heart whispers something your mind has not yet sorted out, think of Aphrodite and remember that passion, connection, and vulnerability are not weaknesses. They are some of the most powerful forces in the world. Pause for a moment. Listen to that softness within, and let Aphrodite remind you that passion, connection, and genuine emotion are some of life's most powerful guides. Hermes, the swift messenger god, moved between worlds with remarkable ease. But he wasn't frantic or rushed. His steps were light, effortless, gliding like a soft breeze through olive groves, or drifting like a whisper across the morning air. Hermes guided travelers, protected merchants, and carried messages from gods to mortals. But his path didn't end there. He moved freely between Olympus, Earth, and even the underworld, serving as a gentle guide who led wandering souls from this world to the next. Yet for all his responsibilities, Hermes was also one of the most mischievous gods, the ultimate trickster. Fast, clever, playful, and always one step ahead of everyone else. He was the god of trade and wealth, of language and luck, of travel and boundaries, and yes, of thieves. Not because he encouraged wrongdoing, but because he understood cunning, the cleverness humans often needed to survive. His clever nature was clear right from the moment he was born. As a baby just hours old, Hermes was already crawling out of his cradle, restless and curious, eager to explore the world that lay beyond the cave where he was born. But crawling barefoot over sharp rocks? not ideal for someone who preferred comfort and speed. And so he invented something new, the world's first pair of sandals. And not long after, those sandals would become his signature, winged and weightless, carrying him across the land, the sky, and even into shadowed realms with unmatched style and grace. Later, he added a winged helmet and a staff entwined with 2 serpents, symbols of communication, peace, and balance. With these tools, Hermes became the bridge between the worlds, delivering messages for his father Zeus and anyone else who needed him. Though he carried divine messages, Hermes also carried something lighter, a sense of reassurance. He brought comfort to travelers who felt lost, reminding them that every path leads somewhere and that no journey is taken alone. He is the quiet whisper at your shoulder, urging you forward when the road seems uncertain, the soft laugh that lifts your spirits, the confidence that comes from knowing you can adapt, adjust, and outsmart any challenge. And so the next time you face a difficult moment, think of Hermes, the smiling, mischievous god who danced between realms with quick wit and an open heart. And remember that you too have the cleverness, agility, and quiet courage to find your way through. Often overlooked, Hestia was one of the most cherished goddesses on Mount Olympus. She ruled the hearth, the warm fire at the center of every home, the gentle flame that cooked meals, gathered families, and offered comfort in the darkest nights. To the ancient Greeks, Hestia's fire was not just heat, it was safety. As long as her flame burned, the home was protected, the people were nourished, and the family remained whole. Imagine a small fire glowing in a quiet home, the sound of wood crackling softly, the soft scent of smoke rising in the air, the comfort of warmth on a cold night. This was Hestia. She was the goddess of hospitality, kindness, and peaceful living, a reminder that strength does not always roar. Sometimes it glows, gently, steadily, like a flame that never goes out. Unlike many Olympian gods, Hestia took no part in dramatic myths. There were no great battles fought in her name, no jealous rivalries, no tempestuous love affairs. Her power was quiet, stable, and constant, the very foundation of a life well lived. She was also the firstborn child of Cronus and Rhea, and according to some traditions, she was the first swallowed by her father, as he was haunted by a prophecy that one of his children would overthrow him, and so he swallowed them all. But she was also the last to be released, symbolizing the way the hearth is the first place built in a home and the last place where warmth lives. But Hestia's importance extended far beyond the household. In every Greek city, a public hearth burned in her honor. This flame, tended by priests or maidens, represented the soul of the entire community. When colonies sailed to new lands, they carried embers from Hestia's sacred fire to start the first hearth in their new home, symbolizing unity and continuity. Though one of the 12 Olympians, Hestia is sometimes said to have offered her throne to Dionysus, not out of weakness, but from a desire for peace and harmony among the gods. That was Hestia's nature. Gentle, calm, selfless. She wasn't interested in power or in grandeur. She preferred the quiet spaces, the places where people gathered, rested, healed, and shared time together. Hestia reminds us that not all strength is loud. Not all guidance comes from grand gestures. Sometimes the greatest power comes from creating warmth, fostering peace, and bringing people together. She is the soft glow that helps us feel grounded and calm, the warmth that welcomes us home, the light that stays steady even when the world outside grows cold. And so the next time you sit near a fire, watch a candle flicker, or feel comfort in the simple act of being home, remember Hestia, the goddess who asks for nothing, gives quiet strength, and reminds us that peace begins at the hearth. Dionysus, god of wine and celebration, was so much more than wild festivals and ecstatic abandon. He represented joy, creativity, and the peaceful bonding of friends, the warmth that fills a room when people gather, share stories, and savor life together. Picture him in a sunlit vineyard, grapes hanging heavy on the vines, a gentle breeze carrying the soft sounds of laughter through the air. This is Dionysus at his gentlest, a reminder of the simple pleasures that make days brighter, warmer, and more connected. He encouraged people to appreciate art, to honor their emotions, and to embrace the beauty of being fully alive. Dionysus was not chaos, but the soft, happy glow of community, the relaxed joy that comes from releasing tension, sharing a meal, or enjoying good company. But he was also the wild card of Mount Olympus. Dionysus ruled over wine, yes, but also over theater, transformation, ecstasy, and the breaking of boundaries. He was a god of both order and disorder, joy and madness, reminding the Greeks that the human spirit needs room to feel, to express, to unravel a little, and then return to balance. And speaking of joy and chaos, one of Dionysus's most famous myths brings together both beautifully. One day, Dionysus's old old friend and mentor, Silenus, wandered off after drinking a bit too much wine, something that for him was not unusual. He was found by King Midas, a man known for his wealth, but also for his kindness. Rather than punishing Silenus or sending him away, Midas treated him with warmth and hospitality, keeping him safe until Dionysus arrived to retrieve him. In gratitude, Dionysus offered Midas a single wish. Without hesitation, Midas asked, "I want everything I touch to turn to gold." At first, the gift felt magnificent. The leaves he brushed became shining metal. The stones beneath his feet glowed with golden light. But soon the blessing revealed its hidden edge. His food turned gold before he could eat it. His wine became solid in the cup. And in the gentlest moment of all, when his daughter ran into his arms, she too transformed into a statue, beautiful but cold and lifeless. Realizing the weight of his wish, Midas begged Dionysus to undo it. Moved by compassion, Dionysus told him to wash in a sacred river, and there the power left him, washing away the gold and restoring what truly mattered. This story, gentle even in its sorrow, reminds us that joy cannot be forced, and that life's true treasures are not material, but the people we love, the experiences we share, and the warmth that binds us together. Dionysus teaches us that life should be savored, that emotions should be felt, and that connection, creativity, and laughter are gifts worth cherishing. And so, I'd like to end this episode the same way it began. Imagine a world where the booming thunder wasn't just a random storm, but the mighty Zeus, king of the gods, wielding his lightning bolt. Imagine a world where the crashing waves on the seashore wasn't just a force of nature, but the domain of the temperamental Poseidon, shaking the earth with a flick of his trident. Imagine a world where love wasn't just a feeling, but a force embodied by the enchanting Aphrodite, capable of igniting hearts and inspiring wars with her beauty. These stories are thousands of years old, and yet they still captivate us. But why? Why have Greek myths endured for so long? Perhaps it's because even wrapped in godly power, these myths tell deeply human truths. They show us our strengths and our flaws, our desires and our downfalls. The gods felt envy, love, pride, vengeance, longing, just as we do. And although they were immortal, their struggles weren't so different from our own. But to me, more than anything, what the gods teach us is that life is full of choice. The choice to question what we've been told. The choice to rise when we've been cast down. The choice to love boldly or walk away. To forgive or to seek justice. to follow the rules or possibly write our own. Their myths remind us that even in a world ruled by fate and gods, it was often the decisions, not the destinies, that shaped the story. And if the gods, with all their power and flaws, had the freedom to choose, then so do we. And that's why their stories still live, because they remind us of the power we hold. And so as you drift toward sleep, know that these ancient figures once watched over sailors at night, guiding them by stars and moonlight. And now tonight, their stories watch over you as well, gently, quietly, softly.